Hey everyone, it's Josh. And wow, it is really late right now. I would have made this video a lot earlier, but some things kept getting in my way. But yeah, anyway, it's time to get into the topic of today's video. And that's of course the fact that the Nintendo Switch is now 5 years old. Can y'all believe that the Switch is now on its 5th year lifespan? It just feels like it just released yesterday. Time really does go by in a flash, doesn't it? And in today's video, I thought I'd discuss, does the Nintendo Switch really still hold up even after 5 years since its release? 70% of me says yes, 20% of me says kind of, and 10% of me says no. Let's first get into why I think it does hold up. And yeah, like I said, it's been around for like 5 years, and that is really hard to believe. Me personally, I think the Switch is probably one of the best systems Nintendo has ever made. It may even be one of the best systems ever created. It certainly brought them back to their popularity after them collapsing when they released the Wii U, even though I think it was a really great console. I mean, it's now Nintendo's most sold console, with it selling 103.54 million units, surpassing the Wii, which sold 101.63 million units. And yeah, of course the Switch did have its ups and downs over the years, but that didn't stop me from loving it. What I find really funny is when the Wii U was first released, Nintendo immediately started production on the Switch. And you know, now that I think about it, if it wasn't for the Switch, I probably wouldn't have much of the popularity on my channel if it wasn't for the said console. I mean, just look at my channel page. Literally about 80% of the videos on my channel talk about the Nintendo Switch. And even if they don't really talk about them completely, they are like somewhat related to them in a way. And just look at the console itself. Doesn't it look beautiful? This Switch was actually my launch Nintendo Switch. I bought it right when it was released, and it still works perfectly fine. And you know what? Since we're already like 5 years from the Switch's release, I'm just wondered what other things Nintendo has planned for it. I've actually read in an online article that one of the producers or directors of Nintendo said that the Switch is already on its halfway point in its lifespan. So probably in the next couple of years, we might get a new console. Which really confuses me, because what other console could top the Switch? I mean, the Switch literally has a feature that not many other consoles could pull off. You can play it on a TV, or if you just want to play it in handheld mode, you just take it out and you just play it on a tiny screen. You can just go wherever you want. So honestly, my question is, what can be better than that? Like, seriously. I mean, with the Switch being one of the most sold consoles ever, many people appreciate it and many people just adore it, like me. And just the Switch's hardware itself just really, really makes me appreciate the fact that it exists. I mean, you can take off the Joy-Cons and put them in a Joy-Con grip, and you can even use a Pro Controller, which is probably one of the best video game controllers I've ever used in my life. I mean, I don't really see why Nintendo would have to make a new console anytime soon, because with the Switch selling more every year, it just questions why would they ever want to make a new console when this said console is still selling well even today. Yeah, like seriously, why would they need to make a new one even though it's still doing well to this day? And just look at all these games that I have for the Switch. Yep. This is probably the console that I have the most games for. And since the Switch is still being sold very well, that did inspire Nintendo to make some new revisions of the Switch, which were not necessary at all. Being the Nintendo Switch Lite and the Nintendo Switch OLED. Although the OLED I kind of understand, but for the Switch Lite, I really don't see why they even made it to begin with. But yeah, like I said, even though the Switch did have its issues, I think it really does hold up. And I mean, it obviously still holds up because, like I said, many people always buy it. It still sells well each day. Everyone buys it, and it just keeps going and going and going, and nothing's gonna stop the Switch from being superior. I mean, when it was very first revealed in the first look at Nintendo Switch trailer that was shown in 2016, I instantly was like, "Oh my god, I want it! I want it!" Like as a kid, one of my dreams was to play games on a TV. I mean, obviously you can do that with you can play games on a TV and then you can play in handheld like on your Game Boys and DSs and stuff. But for the Switch, it does both of them at the same time, which is something I really wanted them to do for a while, and they finally did. But yeah, with all that said, the Switch did have its issues, and I'm pretty sure most of y'all know them by now. And now we're in like the 20% ratio where it kind of does like stick well even to this day. Because while I said the Nintendo Switch was a perfect console, it certainly was missing a lot. Like seriously, Nintendo, where are the menu themes? You can't just make it basic white and basic black. Why? And what really confused me was that many people wanted Nintendo to make a Nintendo Switch Pro. And I kind of did like the idea, but at the same time, I was just wondering why. I mean, the Switch is already decent on its own. I really don't feel like it needs like an upgraded version. I mean, at the same time, I do think it does because, like I said, it does miss a few features that it obviously should have had from the start. But it did kind of need an upgrade, and that's where the OLED Nintendo Switch came from, which didn't upgrade as much as we wanted it to. As a matter of fact, I'm even debating whether or not to even buy a Nintendo Switch Pro. I mean, not a Pro. I mean OLED. What is wrong with me? I mean, yeah, eventually Nintendo is going to have to make a new version of the Switch, or they'll at least have to make like a new console because they will probably have to keep up with Sony and Microsoft's new consoles like the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. But yeah, maybe the Switch is able to surpass the PS5 and Xbox Series X and S and stuff. And yeah, of course there's some things that I really do not like about the Nintendo Switch, and that's where the part where I like the 10% part where I think it does not hold up. Like, why in the actual heck do we have to pay to play games online, Nintendo? Come on. And why do we have to play extra just to play outdated games? And Joy-Con drift. Where are you going? No, get back here. But yeah, even though the Switch does have problems here and there, and it'll probably have more problems in the future, nothing will probably stop me from loving it. As a matter of fact, when I go to my school, there are like a few kids in there who actually bring their Nintendo Switches to school. I'm of course one of them, but I do love seeing other people bring their Switches to school, and it does show that many other people care for the console. I think everyone in the gaming community should at least have a Nintendo Switch. So yeah, with all that stuff said, I can pretty much confirm that the Nintendo Switch does in fact hold up even to this day. And yeah, say what you guys want about the Switch itself or the hardware, but you can't deny that sometimes the games do end up being bad because mostly Nintendo makes third-party games for the Switch, but they have been focusing a lot on first-party in a while. So yeah, the Switch does have a decent library of games you can play, like the legendary Super Mario Odyssey. As a matter of fact, while we're on the topic, this game was the reason why I wanted to get the Switch in the first place. So, yeah, it's really, really hard to believe the Switch has been around for 5 years. I mean, it just really feels like it just released yesterday. Like, I remember going to GameStop and picking mine up from pre-ordering it, and I was just having a blast playing with it, and I still am to this day. And yeah, I can tell we're not really at the end of the era for the Switch just yet. We're still gonna have lots of more coming in the future. I mean, I think the Switch really does really push the limits that Nintendo has. I mean, we have a new 3D Kirby game coming out, which is something we never had until now. But yeah, I just really love the Switch, and nothing will stop me from loving it. But yeah, I pretty much said everything I wanted to say about the Switch. It certainly has kept its dignity over the years. Hopefully it still will for years to come. Happy 5th anniversary, Nintendo Switch. So yeah, do y'all love the Switch? Because I certainly do. I mean, the Switch gave us this iconic legendary startup and sound effect. Yep, I love it. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. So thank you guys for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe. And let me know in the comments what y'all think about the Nintendo Switch being 5 years old. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Bye. By the way, if you don't have a Nintendo Switch now, do yourself a favor and get one. I love what you've done for me. Thank you.